everybody, it's Josie Moon here with Mighty Moon Medicine, and I have just gone out and picked a bunch of this beautiful plant here that you might know as Goldenrod, or in its Latin name is solidago. So it's been a really nice day of making medicine so far. I've got chaga on the stove, I've got usnea tincture on this herb, decoction, making the tea out of after the tincture for usnea. So there's all different kinds of smells going on in my house, and I said, okay, it's time to go out and pick some goldenrod, which is actually early. We are in early August, and usually goldenrod doesn't really bloom until, say, end of August. It's one of like the last flowers to bloom, end of August, or even in the fall. So if you read the Farmer's Almanac, like I like to, that usually keys you in that there's going to be a pretty brutal winter ahead when the plants start to bloom and earlier, and there's loads of fruiting bodies in abundance, like everything this year, right? It's going to be a good year for everything: apples, hawthorn berries, everything, all the rain that we got. So that usually means that perhaps the earth is preparing itself for a very hard, long winter. So I have gone out and already gotten the first load of goldenrod. And it's everywhere. It's along my driveway, it's in the fields, it's along roadsides. And again, I always refrain from picking directly from busy roadsides. It's nice to go out into the woods or into the fields that is safe land and you are allowed to harvest from and get your goldenrod. So this is what it looks like. I'm sure everybody has seen it. It's got these beautiful tiered yellow flower blooms, and it kind of like hangs in the fields, and it grows pretty tall. It can grow almost as tall as me. I'm about 5'5", or as tall as me. I've seen it as well, and it's got beautiful green leaves. And one of the reasons why I really wanted to make this video is because I've been selling a lot of it, because it's really good for allergies, seasonal allergies. And a lot of people have seasonal allergies, and it's been a myth that goldenrod is one of the leading causes of seasonal allergies, and that's just not true. Usually it's the ragweed that is causing allergic reactions. So I'm just going to start cutting this up. I'm making a tincture. This is my 1 gallon jar. It's a pretty large one, and I've already just kind of started cutting the plant, and I added a little bit of alcohol already, and this is the second dose here in my beautiful foraging basket of the rest, because we want to try and fill the jar as much as possible. So yes, as I was saying, so goldenrod actually helps with seasonal allergies, okay? And it's because the pollen on goldenrod, the goldenrod doesn't send out the pollen into the air like other plants that people are really allergic to. It relies on pollinators like bees to come and move the pollen. So it's not like drifting in the air, and that's what everybody is allergic to. So just to set that straight, it's also a really powerful anti-inflammatory, like everywhere in the body. It helps with inflammation everywhere in the body. So arthritis, joint pain, even in our digestive tract. It's really good for our digestion as well. It's a diuretic, meaning it helps you pee. And that might not seem very desirable, but it is if you have a kidney infection, and you need to start peeing more to kind of flush out your bladder. So it's really good when you have a bladder infection. And also it's really good for kidney stones. It really helps with kidney stones as well. So yeah, what else does goldenrod do? It's loaded with antioxidants. It actually has 7 times more the amount of antioxidants than green tea. What else? Oh, it's very antifungal. So you could use it topically for like psoriasis or eczema or any kind of like skin fungus. Also internally, it's antifungal and it's really good for candida. Okay, so getting rid of, unwanted fungus in your body. So candida, and what else? She's really quite amazing. It's not really a whole lot that she doesn't do. This amazing plant that grows everywhere that people just don't really know her claim to fame. What else? So she's known for having or being able to balance or take care of the imbalances, let's call it, in our internal ecosystem. So our gut, our digestive system, our kidneys, like I said, through this kidney support, she's really good at helping to flush toxins out of the body. She's also good for oral health. So if you wanted to make like a mouthwash of her, she's really good, just kind of cleaning any like mouth ulcers, healing mouth ulcers. And wow, the list goes on, really. Oh, honey. You can do a goldenrod honey. Goldenrod infused honey, and take a spoonful of that when you have a sore throat. She helps with that as well. So I'm just kind of cutting off her blooms into the jar here. You can see. And, there's always going to be bugs or spiders or what have you. Even the stems I like to put in there, but mainly blooms and leaves. There's always going to be spiders and there's always going to be bugs, and like I would never get too obsessed with trying to pick out each one. Instead, what I like to do is I take the plant or flower and I just tap it on the table gently. Whoop, there goes an ant. And the bugs kind of just have this way of like falling out, literally. Oh, there's one right there. So, it's like nature's not dirty, as my beautiful friend and fellow herbal sister, she is of the woods, April Graham, says. Nature is not dirty. It's like, it's not like you have to wash the heck out of your herbs and flowers before you use them, because, it's just like they are what they are, especially if you're going to be tossing alcohol over it. It has its own little way of disinfecting. So yes, again, just tap your plant matter and get the bugs off, or if there's any like leaves that have been just like devoured by bugs, or they're starting to brown or whatever, I usually just remove those, because you want the freshest of the plant itself to go in. Now, something else that I like to do, and this is totally intuitive, which is what plant medicine is all about. You really want to rely on your intuition as well as, of course, study and knowledge. But I just started being like, I'm going to try and harvest some of the plant that is not yet bloomed. So this piece is about to bloom, and I don't know, it's just kind of my intuition to have a more well-balanced tincture of the blooms that are totally out and yellow and have been exposed to the sun and the air, and then to also do blooms there. And then to also do blooms that are yet to open. And that's kind of a nice way to get the most out of the cycles of the plant, right? All right, so we're almost there. I'd say that's maybe a couple more blooms, and then I think later I'm going to be making a goldenrod honey, because I woke up with a sore throat this morning, and I immediately was served osha root by Seamus, because he knows. And if you don't know what osha root is, you definitely want to look into that. It's an amazing root that just helps with any kind of sore throat, oral health, and I immediately started chewing on that. You just kind of like chew on it and it starts to slide, like the juices. You don't eat it, you just chew on it. And the juices start to slide down the back of your throat, and I swear within 10 minutes my pain was gone. And even now I'm better, but I got inspired because sore throat season and just cold season in general and everything going on with this crazy virus, we have to be at optimal health, right? We have to really be treating our bodies the best way that we can and really just keeping our immune systems up is how I feel. So I'll make a goldenrod infused honey later that you can just have spoonfuls of or put in tea year round. So, okay, let's add some alcohol and see how she sits. So I like to use 100 proof vodka, 50% water content and 50% alcohol. So actually 100 proof, excuse me, not 100%, because that would be complete alcohol with no water. So why I like to use 100 proof, 50% water, 50% alcohol, is because you don't have to do the math afterwards. You don't have to do the math. You don't have to dilute it with however percentage of water to get it shelf stable and to get it down to a safe proof to even consume. And I just like to use something that's not so strong. I've used Everclear in the past that's like 190 proof, and it just feels toxic and poisonous. And you take the tincture, you ingest it, and you're just like, so I don't really want to do that. Plus, it's just a little like hard on the plants, and the water, the 50% water in the alcohol is meshing with the plant, and you're able to get the water soluble properties of the plant as well. Woo, this is going to be 3 bottles. Or 4. So another very important tip when you are tincturing, is you don't want any plant matter sticking up out of the alcohol, ever. Because what will happen is that the plant matter that's peeking up out of the alcohol is exposed to air. And when it's exposed to air, it's oxidation that occurs and it depreciates the medicinal value of the tincture, and it'll start to ferment. And I learned the hard way. I lost a whole half gallon full of mullein tincture this year because I packed the jar too tight and there was a little bit of mullein leaf sticking up and the air got to it. The air got to it, and the whole thing was fermented when I opened it, and I had to dump it, which is really sad. But we learn, we live and we learn, right? So actually you want to like fill it to the tippy top. You don't want any air, and you don't want any plant matter. Now, plant matter is going to float to the top. That's just what happens. It starts to float, but don't worry. If it's filled all the way to the top, then it really should be fine. Sometimes I like to tap it to get the air bubbles to raise. It's almost like you're like burping it like a little baby. Cool. And then get your lid, wherever that is. Get your lid, cap it off, and then of course you always want to write what you've got. So goldenrod tincture, April. Where are we? We're in August. August 9th, the day after the new moon in Leo. We're at August 9th, Monday. You put goldenrod and you put 100 proof vodka so you know what you used. And I'm going to let this little baby sit for 6 to 8 weeks. I've been playing with the 8-week mark this season because I just think that we have to wait for good things, and the longer you let your plant matter sit, and really 8 weeks is plenty enough, the more potent your medicine's going to be. And I don't know, they deserve it. The plant deserves to be, honored in the greatest way. And so instead of trying to get your medicine done quick, really let it sit. And I like to shake mine every day. Maybe not every day. Sometimes I don't get to it every day, but as much as possible. And even something that really helps me too is maybe like in 2 days from now, I'll open this and make sure that there's no plant matter exposed. And if There is, because sometimes it'll start to settle, right? The alcohol will drop, it'll start to settle, and the plant will start to absorb the alcohol, and then there'll be more space left in the top of the jar, and you just top it off a little bit more. So thank you, Goldenrod, and thank you, fellow plant lovers, for going through making a goldenrod tincture with me. It is so worth it. You can get out there, you can do it yourself, and make your own beautiful batch of medicine. And you can always find me on my website, www.mightymoonmedicine.com. And you are your own healer.